been nearly 50 years since her death, but Marilyn Monroe still captivates audiences. Photographer and author Lawrence Schiller worked with the Hollywood legend on her last couple of films. He writes about his experiences in the new memoir, Marilyn Me. He's also published a book of his photography, also called Marilyn Me, featuring some of his iconic images of the late actress, as well as some never-before-seen pictures. Lawrence, it's great to have you here. Good morning.
Thank you, Matt.
23 years old you were when you first met her. She was 33, working on a movie. She introduced herself. She goes, "Hi, I'm Marilyn," and you said, "I'm the big bad wolf." Why'd you say that?
I was just scared. Look, I'd photographed some celebrities, but coming up against Marilyn Monroe, 23, I was a photojournalist, but I didn't know how good I was, and could I take a great picture? She'd been photographed by Avedon, all the greats. And here I was, I had to put up.
And you say she knew what she was doing behind a still camera. She told you where would be best to stand, where the lighting would be best, where the angles were, and she was right.
Well, I was even scared to go in her dressing room, so I shot her from the door. She caught my eye in the mirror, and she says, "That's not going to be a good picture. Go over there." And then she turned to the left, looked over her shoulder. I raised the camera, and it's really a great image of her.
And yet, for all of her confidence behind a still camera, you say you never felt she was as confident behind a motion picture camera.
No, I have a theory. It's because with the still camera, she didn't have to talk. In front of a motion picture camera, she had to walk and talk, and she had to deliver lines, and I think that's really scared her.
A couple of years after you met her, you went and shot her for Something's Gotta Give, the movie that you did with Dean Martin that was never actually completed because she died. What was the atmosphere like on that set?
Well, there she was fighting demons. There she was fighting for her life. She was always late on the set. She'd come out of a mental hospital, I think Payne Whitney here in New York. She'd had some surgery. She tried to trim down, which she did very, very well. The short and long of it, she went on the battlefield in all different directions. And she had few weapons left. And one of the weapons was her body.
And the movie studio was growing impatient with her. There was a scene in that movie that you found out about, and you said immediately, "I want to shoot that." Describe it. She was supposed to seduce Dean Martin. She was swimming in a pool, and he was watching her from a balcony.
That's right. And she's supposed to look like she has nothing on, but in fact she was going to wear a nude bathing suit. And in a meeting with her, with Pat Newcomb, her press agent, she said, "I'm really thinking of jumping in this swimming pool and coming out with nothing on." And then I joked, Pat said, "You're not really serious, are you?" And she says, "I'm thinking about it." Nobody knew whether she was going to do that.
And you said to her, by the way, if you do that, and you come out of that pool naked and I take these pictures, I'll be famous.
And she looked at me and she says, "Don't be so cocky, Larry. Photographers like you can easily be replaced."
And the eventual story is what happened?
Well, number one, she came out of the swimming pool without a bathing suit, actually bit by bit. First the bra, then the panties, then the full-length nude. And she approved more pictures than I ever thought she would.
But she did have one thing she said to you. She said, if you publish these photographs, they can't be anywhere near photographs of
Elizabeth Taylor.
Why?
Because Marilyn was getting $100,000 for the picture from the studio. Liz was getting $1 million and reportedly 10% of the gross. She wanted to prove to the studio that she had the same power and publicity to sell movies as Liz did. Of course, Liz was having a love affair with Richard Burton.
There was a picture of her 36th birthday, which she celebrated on the set. Just give me the quick backstory behind that photo.
Well, it was very, very sad because the only people that showed up for her birthday party were really those that were working that day. And she celebrated her 36th birthday party. It was the last day on the set. She would never return to make a motion picture. She went to a baseball game that night, got a cold. 3 days later, the studio fired her.
You two seem to have a good relationship. I know you saw her just a couple of days before she died.
Right.
And when you saw her, what was her mental state like?
Well, number one, we were discussing her doing a cover for Playboy magazine. And she was kind of resisting that, but she didn't know whether she wanted to do it. Look, she had no makeup when I saw her, just a very simple dress with spaghetti straps. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know what her mental state was. She was a little bit disturbed. What about? I have no idea. The next day, I get a phone call. Marilyn Monroe has died.
Wow, there are some amazing images in both of these books. Lawrence Schiller, it's always good to see you.
Thank you for having me back.
I appreciate it. Sounds nice.